Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back, guys, to our conversation about economics at UCSB. Today I brought in my friend Dom, who is also a transfer student just like Benji, and we are both suffering from senioritis, but we're going to talk about the experience of economics at UCSB, especially for him as he transferred in. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. As we're talking, it is finals week, so we're at the end of it for you.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit more to go, but yeah, this I think this is a nice conclusion to a bit of our student friendship here.
Okay, yeah, we were saying like we always take rides home together, and I sit here and he sits there, and we face like this, so it's just perfect.
Yeah, it's the final ride.
Yeah, so let's talk about your journey to UCSB as a transfer, tackling 10A, and also getting acquainted with university life. How was that for you?
Sure. So I came to UC Santa Barbara last September, or sorry, not last September, but September 2017. As a junior transfer, I came from a community college up in the Bay Area, College of San Mateo. Go Bulldogs. And before that, I went to a high school called Burlingame High School. So I think coming in as a transfer, I knew this is exactly where I wanted to be. It's the reason why I went to community college. Aside from wanting to be at home for a little bit more, but it put me where I wanted to be. And coming here was like a dream in and of itself. So this is kind of like the end of all that, and kind of putting two pictures side by side, the reality versus what I thought it would be.
Okay. Yeah, you were patient after high school and decided to just stick it through in community college, save some money, learn some life skills, part-time jobs. Now you're here.
Yeah. I told myself that I was going to transfer in 2 years, and I made it. I know it was definitely a struggle to get through it, but I think it all paid off, and now we get to talk about it to you guys.
Yeah, perfect. So 10A, because that's what they're very curious about. Is it really that hard? And like taking that class as opposed to like community college classes, how was that?
Yeah, so I think everyone always talks about 10A as a transfer. It is the class you need to take. No way about it. You can't take any other class from a different community college or other university to replace it. So it is the single feeder class. If you are coming in as econ or econ and accounting, you've finished all your other prerequisites. So I think being the sole class puts a lot of pressure on your performance. And looking back on it, yes and no, it was a tough class, but I don't think it's the toughest that I've taken here.
Okay. So that was like the studying was manageable for you? Like how was your studying process like?
That's a great question. I think that I did what was recommended. I went to CLAS. I went to every section. I went to every lecture. And about 5-6 weeks in, I told myself, you know what, like I'm going to do absolutely anything to get into this major. And I found a PhD tutor off of the econ website, and I went to them with any additional questions. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Interesting.
Yeah. No, I kept that under the wraps.
Okay. Oh man, that's crazy. I learned something today, man.
Yeah. No, I had some friends that took econ 10A the quarter before, and they said that having that tutor really helped them because it was one-on-one.
Okay.
And just going over concepts with someone who, again, not saying that other TAs or teachers don't care, but especially having that one-on-one focus was great for me. It meant that I could definitely clarify some concepts that I struggled with or kind of flew over my head, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like at the end of the day, like you just want to get in the major.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
just a little money.
Yeah. I know that money's a tough thing to discuss, but for me, spending a couple $100 on very qualified tutors was not going to be like something I was going to forego if the alternative was not getting into the major.
Okay, so this is something you'd recommend to most people?
I would recommend looking into it, and knowing what I know now, not only did I go to one CLAS section, I went to two. I crashed one, and it was always a very popular section. So sometimes I was told to sit on the floor, but you know, I definitely put out all stops. And I think another part of it was, you know, I did get into the major a little late due to some health complications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And once you did get into the major, like, how did you find the class load? Was it like your studying habits have to change, or how was that?
Yeah. I think as a transfer, you take the upper division a little bit different than someone like you would, Ashton.
Yeah.
Some quarters I've taken 3 econ classes or econ and accounting classes. And I think just knowing that I need to study for 3 different major classes at one time has been a little stressful, but still manageable. I think that once you take the load off of a class like 10A, that it's a little bit chiller, you know, or at least like I felt like the weight was off my shoulders. And yes, I need to perform and get good grades and study hard, but it wasn't like 10A was. Yeah, but, you know, I think we should definitely get a little bit past 10A. Because it feels like it's a reoccurring.
We don't want to dawn on that too much.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my schedule was very, very spaced out. So I took 1 econ class a quarter up until last quarter. So that's like 3.5 years of just taking econ once a quarter.
Class a quarter,
yeah. So I really liked that I could focus all my attention to like 1 midterm, 1 final, and then like 1 set of office hours I actually have to pay attention to.
Right.
But yeah, you transfers have it rough.
Yeah. I wish that kind of leniency or schedule was afforded to me. That's something I grow jealous of. But
yeah,
I took 3 econ classes in the fall, took 3 in the winter, and now I'm taking 2. And taking 2 has been kind of a light low. You know, it's still a lot, but it feels a lot more manageable than something like taking the 3.
Okay.
So knowing that you and some other people have taken 1 makes me a little jealous, but it is what it is.
Okay. Hey, Corey, real quick, could you check the screen? Does it have a red dot blinking? Yes.
Okay, good.
This has failed us before, and now it's working. Okay.
Yeah, we did about 9 minutes of recording on the microphone with no video.
Yeah, but this time I got to talk about senioritis, so you know, I guess I won it then.
Here we go.
I guess the next question is, I don't know, any general tips for students coming in?
Yeah, coming in as a transfer is a little hectic and stressful for most of us. It's the first time we live away from home. So, you know, you're learning how to cook and clean after yourself, and you come home and your parents aren't there. Definitely a little bit of a weird feeling. And I think if I could go back to this time last year at the very beginning, of course, you know, everyone can change some things or tips. I think that coming in, you should definitely try to get yourself as busy as possible and hit the ground running as soon as possible, especially if you're vying for a spot in the major. The quicker you get used to the quarter system, the easier it is for you. It's not like the semester system where you can have a part-time job or, you know, do 20, 30 hours a week or hang out at home. You know, now you're cooking after yourself, cleaning after yourself. There's a lot of moving bits and pieces that living at home didn't really have.
Yeah, especially if you have quizzes in your classes, because it's like the 2nd or 3rd week when you're getting accustomed to the whole flow of the quarter, you get hit with the quiz. And then 2 weeks after that is like a midterm. And then 3 weeks after that, it's another midterm. And then you have 2 weeks to rest until the final. So it's like this always going, always studying. If you miss 1 class, especially section, sometimes missing that's really hard, especially in my experience. But if you miss something like that, you're behind and you really have to scramble to keep up because economics is hard and the quarter is super fast.
Yeah, you know, I think that's one thing that can't be forgotten is this school, you know, prides itself on our academic position right now, and it means that you do need to perform.
You do.
Now, yes, the whole, you know, 3-4 weeks till a midterm isn't like the semester system where most community colleges or other colleges are like that. So do what you can to get used to the busy pace. You also need to learn that you won't always have to have time to go to the gym or cook and do this.
Yeah,
so
or go home. Go home. Yeah.
I think the one thing that was toughest for me was getting used to studying in the library. I think this is a little bit underlooked, but it took me about 2 quarters to really get comfortable with studying there and feeling like I can do a substantial amount of work.
Okay. And before you studied at home, is that why?
Yeah. Even through high school, community college, I always had a desk in my room and I studied there.
Okay.
And at home, it was known that when I was there, I was to be uninterrupted as I was working on something. But with roommates, with housemates, obviously there are different rules there, and not everyone is courteous or quiet, so you do have to deal with different personality types. And sometimes the library at school is the one solace where you can kind of go up to a quiet floor, put some headphones or earplugs in and just kind of tool away.
What was interesting for me is that while it's very isolated and quiet and just generally a good place to study, it's still a public setting to study. So at home, I'd always be studying in my room, doors shut. Like I could talk to myself or whatever. In the library, it's just like there's people around. Yeah, it's a studying area, but you still got to be courteous in that degree. So it's something that took me my first summer quarter here to get used to.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the other thing is I always feel very distracted. I don't know what about it, but I always needed to, face a cubicle or sit against sit at a desk with a wall on it, because if I saw other people working on the other side of the wall or roaming around the library, I'd be like, oh, what are they doing? I wish I was doing what they were.
Yeah, that's why I have to sit on the quiet floor, because if I sit on the 4th floor, it's like, oh, what are they talking about? Oh, something interesting. Yeah. And then it has like the beautiful view, and it's like, oh, I want to look, but I also want to study.
That's the other thing is, man, they've got those patios out on the
it's nice
2nd, 3rd, 4th floors of the library, and sometimes you're just tempted to go.
Yeah, especially the 8th floor of the library. Like one part of it, Oceanside, faces the beach, and it's beautiful. But it's like if I study there, it's too beautiful. I can't concentrate.
Yeah. So you do have to learn your best study habits, and definitely coming to college here is a learning experience, not just about furthering your education, but you definitely learn about yourself a lot. And I think that this is something that I wouldn't trade for anything else.
Okay.
Regardless of, the successes and failures, I think I've grown tremendously as a person. I can't put a price tag on that.
Okay. One final question. What does this econ major mean for you? Is it worth it's obviously worth all the toil and suffering, but this is something you would highly recommend to people? This is like, what exactly did you get out of the major that you think you wouldn't get out of any other major? That maybe it's like the same difficulty, but it's economics at UCSB as opposed to engineering or biology. Right.
Well, I come from a business background. My dad's a mechanic, and I grew up hanging out and working at the shop. So what I really wanted to come and get out of an economics background was get an academic perspective to what was going on in the real world.
Okay.
And I think that it is definitely a study of how people react in the marketplace, and I think psychology is very intertwined with that.
Definitely, yeah.
How people make decisions was interesting for me. I would say in some sorts it is a passion. That with entrepreneurial and startup aspects, which we can talk about another time.
Sure, yeah. A TMP podcast.
Yeah. We can do a podcast. We can do a video. Up to you, Ashton.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the time we have for this video. We will bring Dom back. We'll bring him back. But any final thoughts before we close this up?
If you're watching this video trying to decide whether you should come to UCSB or not, I would say hands down, if you're ready to put in some work and have some fun, do it. Through the struggle, through the thick and through thin, it was worth it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night or a good day.
Yeah. Cool. I forget they're not, they can watch it anytime.
Yeah, anytime.
Nice.
Anywhere.